I grew up in the late 90s and early 2000s, a period that almost perfectly coincided with the rise and fall of video rental stores. The two heavy hitters in my area were Hollywood Video and Blockbuster. Hollywood Video's parent company went bankrupt in 2010, and the last Hollywood Video location closed their doors that summer. Blockbuster faced a similar fate, except for the fact that against all odds, there is still one remaining Blockbuster store. It's the only one in the entire world, and it's located in Bend, Oregon. I was feeling particularly nostalgic, so I decided to travel all the way across the country to rent a movie and relive some core memories from my childhood. I knew the Blockbuster would be worth the trip by itself, but I figured it would be fun to go the full 9 yards. So with that in mind, I set 5 goals for recreating my childhood while I was in Bend. Number 1, dress the part. Number 2, get the soundtrack. Number 3, find analog entertainment. Number 4, secure dinner and snacks. And number 5, watch a movie from Blockbuster. To get out there, I flew into Portland, Oregon, and made the 3.5-hour drive to Bend. I crossed through several different pockets of rain, and then sunshine, and then rain again. I'm pretty sure I saw snowflakes at one point. I also kept passing signs that said historic Oregon Trail, which was kind of cool, except it made me worried that I was going to get cholera. Once I got to Bend, my first order of business was to find clothes similar to what I would have worn in the early 2000s. I stopped by a handful of thrift shops, but eventually found exactly what I was looking for. And that was this short sleeve button down, which is almost exactly what I wore for the first day of school in the fall of 2000. I went back to my hotel and changed into my new outfit, and let me tell you, it really helped take me back. Being at those thrift stores made me wonder if it would be possible to find a CD that I actually would have listened to around that time. One of my favorite CDs, and actually one of the first CDs I owned, was Now 5, which came out on November 14th, 2000.
But I kind of came up empty-handed. Best I could do was Karaoke Extreme Most Requested Pop Songs. I think these are from around 2001, 2002. Some of the songs on here are Complicated, Avril Lavigne, All Star by Smash Mouth, All the Small Things, Blink-182. Oh my gosh, Who Let the Dogs Out? Okay, Kryptonite by Three Doors Down. That was on Now 5, and because of that, it was like one of my favorite songs as a kid.
Just to be clear here, Now 5 is hands down the best Now album.
It's surprisingly hard to find a way to play a CD in 2024. Like, my rental car doesn't even have a CD slot.
I was, however, able to find these headphones, and believe it or not, Best Buy still sells off-brand Walkmans. And while I'm straight up vibing around downtown Bend, I'd love to tell you about Manta Sleep, who's the sponsor of this episode. Manta Sleep wants to empower you to sleep better so you can do more. And their sleep aids are legit. I actually wore one of their sleep masks on my flight out to the West Coast, and it came in clutch. One thing I appreciate about their sleep masks is that they put zero pressure on your eyes and eyelashes. The one I wore on my flight was the Manta Sound Sleep Mask, which has C-shaped eye cups that allow for maximum comfort and true 100% blackout. And maybe the best part is that it has these ultra-thin Bluetooth headphones inside the mask that have a 20-hour battery life. You can tune out those kids making noise in the row behind you and block out the person opening and closing the window while you're trying to sleep. I've also tried their Manta Cool Sleep Mask, which helps soothe your eyes and sinuses. All of their masks are adjustable to fit the shape of your face perfectly, and they're made using high-quality, breathable materials. If you want to try a mask from Manta Sleep, you can get 10% off your order by using the code REVIEW when you visit the link below or go to mantasleep.com. They also offer free shipping to US customers regardless of your order size. So one more time, that code is spelled REVUE for 10% off your next order from Manta Sleep. Next up on my list was to find some analog entertainment. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I miss the days before I had almost constant access to the internet and social media at any point during the day. I think now it kind of fills up my free time before I realize it, and so as a result, I just do less stuff. So my mind went straight to the go-to birthday party venue throughout my elementary and middle school years, which was roller rinks. Shout out to Skateaway, where I held my 11th birthday party. I looked it up, and not only was there a skating rink in Bend, but that night also happened to be a Saturday night adult skate session. Blockbuster closed at 9, and I didn't want to cut it too close in case, I got carried away while I was skating, so I decided to go pick out my movie first. Ever since I heard about this Blockbuster, I really wanted to go see it. I actually bought a hat from them online a few years ago. I have really distinct memories of going to a Blockbuster on Friday or Saturday night with my parents or my siblings and deciding on a movie to watch together. At its peak in 2004, Blockbuster had over 9,000 1,000 stores, but it was essentially given a death sentence when streaming services became mainstream. Ironically, Blockbuster turned down the opportunity to purchase Netflix in the year 2000. And I don't know if you remember this, but in a last-ditch effort to change with the times, Blockbuster Express launched as a Redbox competitor in 2010, but by then it was like too little too late. So all the corporate stores closed in 2014, but locations owned by franchisees hung on for a little bit longer. And by March 2019, the location in Bend, Oregon was the last one remaining. And they've managed to hang on since then, even through the pandemic, largely because of the nostalgia of people like me. This location in particular has made headlines for a bunch of reasons, one of which is because for a limited time it was actually listed as an Airbnb, like you could stay overnight and watch movies and eat popcorn. A couple years ago there was also a short-lived sitcom based on the fact that there was one Blockbuster remaining, and it starred Randall Park, but it was canceled after one season. Believe it or not, that was a show on Netflix. I don't really know how to describe the experience of pulling up to a Blockbuster store in 2024. The outside of the store isn't anything like super special. It's located behind a gas station and it's part of a strip of other stores, but the signage and the branding did make me feel super nostalgic. On the inside, they actually still have a little living room set up in one corner just for display. I don't know if that was set up for the Airbnb thing or if that's always been there. And then the rest of it feels exactly like you'd expect, like a Blockbuster store. I was curious about whether they'd have VHSs or just DVDs because it would be fun to rent a VHS, but it'd be a lot harder to find a VCR. And I found out that they primarily rent DVDs now, with the occasional VHS available for sale, but not for rental. They did have this cool wall display made up of old VHSs though. It felt like their selection was pretty solid. Their website says they have over 20,000 movies to choose from. And I saw a bunch of newer movies like Barbie on the shelves. They also have a ton of merch that says The Last Blockbuster, which I assume accounts for a large portion of their revenue. They also have some cool movie memorabilia, including this costume from Back to the Future and some signed posters like this one from Rookie of the Year. Remember that movie? For my movie, I was hoping they'd have the original Space Jam, which was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I'm sure I could have called ahead and confirmed that they had it, but I really wanted to relive the experience of browsing the aisles, not fully knowing what they'd have available. Remember those days where you just like walk into a store without having researched something on the internet first? All that being said, I found it in the family section without too much trouble. I also decided to buy a couple postcards, some popcorn, and some candy for the movie. In my head, I have this strong association between Baby Bottle Pops and Blockbuster, and I'm not 100% sure why that is, but that's what jumped in my mind when I thought about getting candy with my movie rental. They had something called a Baby Flash Pop, and honestly, I wasn't sure if that was different from a Baby Bottle Pop or the same. I don't know. So I grabbed one of those, and then Mike and Ike's as a backup. And for all of that, the movie rental, the candy, the popcorn, and the postcards, I paid $10. Unbelievable. I feel like you can't do anything for $10 these days. The rental itself was just 99 cents, and in order to rent it, they had to make an account for me. So I'm proud to say that I am now a member of Blockbuster Video and can rent stuff whenever I want, if I'm ever back in Bend. So I had successfully rented a movie and grabbed some snacks, but I'd still need to grab dinner and watch the movie later. But first, I needed to go rollerblading. I bet you forgot about that. I laced up my skates and I was a little shaky at first, but I really got the hang of it. And I'm not gonna lie, this was really fun. But I still had an 88-minute movie to watch, so I returned my skates and stopped by Pizza Hut on my way home. I chose Pizza Hut because there was a KFC Pizza Hut near my house growing up, and my friend Nathan and I would each get personal pan pizzas and then go watch a movie at his house. At Combo Pizza Huts, also known as Pizza Hut Expresses, they sell this meal where there's a personal pan pizza and then a few breadsticks and I think a drink. But they didn't have that option at this store, so I went ahead and ordered each of those items separately so I could get the experience anyway. I brought all my spoils back to my hotel room where I hooked up a DVD player I bought from Walmart. Most hotel rooms don't have DVD players these days, go figure. And it was actually pretty hard to confirm whether any of the Airbnbs in Bend had DVD players either, so I just made it work with the options I had available. I popped the popcorn, put the movie in, and then kicked back to soak it all in. I was surprised to find that the personal pizza was rectangular and the breadsticks weren't quite as good as I remembered them being, but you can't win them all. I'm pretty sure the baby flash pop was the same as a baby bottle pop, but it just had nerds in the bottom instead of that Fun Dip powder. And let me tell you, Space Jam holds up, like just as good as I remember it. I forgot that there's an opening credits sequence that's a full 5 minutes. There are also so many lines that I didn't realize I knew by heart. At some point I got up and changed back into comfier clothes. I think the movie was still entertaining as an adult, just maybe in a little bit of a different way. Like, I don't think I really appreciated how good Bill Murray's role is when I was a kid. Plot-wise, I guess I never realized that the entire movie happens within like 24 to 48 hours. They get to the tip-off of that final game so fast. I don't want to over-sentimentalize this experience, but getting to relive this night from my childhood actually got me in my feels a little bit. I think when I become a parent, I know I won't be perfect, but I would love for my kids to be able to look back and know I tried my best. And rewinding the clock 20 years for this one night made me want my parents to know that I see how they tried their best. They gave up a lot for me and my siblings, and I had a really good childhood. So I drafted up a text and let them know that. I want to acknowledge too that I know not everyone watching this has positive memories of your childhood, and maybe they're actually really painful. So I just want to say, one, like, processing that with a professional or someone you trust is really helpful. And two, that doesn't have to be the end of your story. There's great stuff ahead. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what part of your childhood you'd be most excited to relive. And as always, just remember that even when it doesn't feel like it, it's going to be okay. I'll see you soon.